Fred, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. I've been there many times in my youth. On the Internet. How are you, sir?
You, Mr. Levin. Actually, it's Schuylkill County, rural Schuylkill County.
I know exactly where it is.
Pottsville.
Yep.
Anyway, this is a slight technical discussion. It has to do with the 777 aircraft and the missile. Do you know anything about the ATC?
No, I don't know anything about any of this.
Okay. Well, all aircraft...
All I know is I want a window seat when I get on an airline. Beyond that, I don't want to know anything else.
Well, this has to do with I'm a USAF retiree avionics technician.
God bless you. Yep.
And I worked on transponders, and that's the system that identifies aircraft. The large installation near you was just out on Route 7 and 15. I don't know if you know where that is. But anyway...
I know where Route 7 and 15 is. There is an installation there. What is that installation?
It was the ATC for the Washington area. But that's something else.
Regardless.
But what I want to say is these missile launchers, this is a sophisticated missile launcher. It has a transponder or interrogator that would interrogate the aircraft. It sends a signal up at 1030 megahertz, and the aircraft responds with its identification code at 1090 megahertz. And it's shown on the screen down at the missile launcher. They would have positive identification of that aircraft, and it would be shown on their as pulses that come down. The computer would convert it over to what that aircraft was. There's a different code for military aircraft versus civilian aircraft. So what this missile launcher would do, they would use that signal with the electronics to launch the missile. That's how come it hits every time, due to the fact it gets that signal down from the aircraft.
It follows the signal?
Yes, it follows.
All right, let me just slow down a second. So you're saying this is highly technical equipment, and this equipment determines the nature of the aircraft, and it's the nature of the aircraft that signal sends down, and that's what the missile follows.
Yeah, the missile would follow that signal. But along with that signal comes pulses that were changed over by a computer on the ground at the sophisticated site that would identify that as the type of aircraft and where it was going and who it belonged to and everything else.
Well, are you sure of this? I mean, you're aware of this because we're talking about Russian missile systems now. You know, the Buk system and so forth.
Except mostly it's used in normal things in an ATC center to identify aircraft on the radar screen, you know.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, how do you know that's used in this instance with this particular missile system?
Well, how else would they get something up there? I'm sure that's what they use.
Yeah.
I'm not a ground missile person, but I know an awful lot about the aircraft part of this. And I've talked to missile people already, and I don't know the Russian launchers, but I'm sure they work very similar to the ones that the Air Force and...
When you hear people saying, I'm sure it's just some young guy, some young pro-Russian separatist, you know, he probably just fired off the missile and made a mistake. It doesn't work that way, does it?
You just don't fire something like that, like a shoulder-mounted thing. Those things are very expensive, and there's only a few of them. You have somebody that's trained to read the radar scope that's associated with that, and fire.
Or you won't hit the plane. I mean, people just think you hit a button off. It doesn't work that way, does it?
The plane, you got to have some. You know, you just don't send a missile that's I don't know how many thousands of dollars or $1 million that missile is. You just don't fire it randomly. You've got to have it on a target, and the target would be the ATC transponder signal coming back to the radar on the ground where the missile site is.
And according to the Pentagon, this is a very sophisticated system. I mean, it's they also I assume you're talking about radar because they're talking about radar talking to radar.
You have the ground system that sends up an interrogation signal, and when it gets to the plane responds back to the ground station, and that's displayed on a radar screen or on an output telling it what that
All right.
What kind of plane, and a lot.
Fred, the information has been very, very helpful. I appreciate that, and God bless you. And Schuylkill County, I know exactly where it is. It's a beautiful area. I've driven through it in my youth. God bless you, man.